Another beautiful day. Sun has just come up. I'm out here early, right when the sun's coming up, because today is another really high heat index day. Oh, there goes a deer. I just scared a deer off again. But yeah, this week we're gonna have some really high heat index, so I gotta get this stuff done early. Otherwise, it can get a little bit miserable. But it was a buck. It's usually does, but sometimes you'll see a bunch of bucks out here. Yeah, I just saw it run into there. Alright, they seem to like to hang out with the sheep over here, which I find strange. But it's pretty cool. I just wouldn't expect them to want to hang out near the livestock, really, but it's kind of an interesting thing. So, next door over here at the neighbor's property with our ram flock, and trying to get them back closer to our tree line here. Oh, look at JJ with his lips curled back. What's your deal, buddy? What's going on, guys? Oh yeah? How's everybody doing over here? Hey, Roo. Hi there, Roo. That's Rudy. She's a sweetheart. She's come around. She wasn't friendly for the first couple years, but she's really come around. She's one of the more friendlier ones now. You gotta talk sweet to him. You gotta talk sweet to him to get him to come up to you someday. But as far as the rams go, all the older ones are pretty friendly. They like to get their scratches. The little ones, let's see, I got one so far. That's Joy's ram right here. He's the friendly one. The rest of them haven't really figured out that they like to be pet yet. And I don't try to pet them too much, and I definitely don't, I don't play with the rams. I don't think you really want to ever do that. It gives them the wrong idea. They won't respect you, and you don't want them to see you as something to play with, because they can hurt you. So at least the bigger ones can hurt you. So gotta be careful. But you know, as far as petting them goes, as long as they remain respectful. The big guys, what I usually do with them, or even when they're a little bit smaller, they tend to like to kind of run their heads into you. They want to use you as a scratching post, and especially with the rams, I don't let them do that ever. So what I've started to do is I'll lift their chin up. So I keep one hand under their chin and keep their head up, and I pet them, but I don't let them rub against me. And then that really just maintains a respect there with them. So they don't really see you as a plaything at that point, or something to run into or scratch on or anything like that. But you definitely don't want to have a disrespectful relationship with your rams. And so far, so good. None of these have ever tried to headbutt me or anything like that. But they will try and scratch on you, and it's not always very very comfortable, so I don't let them do it. But I'm going to move these guys. So we're heading back towards the tree line so that they can have a little bit more shade. The cool thing in here though is they got all these little trees, and as you can see, maybe not at the moment because they've eaten a lot of them, but when I move them into a new paddock, they actually have a lot of shade in here because they can just sit right behind one of these little trees, and it's a little bedding area. I think that's why the deer like this spot too. But we've gone all through over here. We went through, kind of went down to probably about there, came out, and now we're heading back this way. And I think I'm going to put them back on my property just so they're a little closer until the weather cools down a little bit, because it's easier for me and it gives them a little bit more shade. Once it cools down a little bit, we get kind of closer to fall. As long as the owners here are still wanting their land grazed, then I'll come back and I'll graze the rest of this. And that'll be awesome for the sheep to have. And that'll be awesome for the owners of this property to get their land grazed. It's going to really benefit their land. It's going to, you know, it's going to keep a lot of the grass down so they don't have to come right back and brush hog this again. Because this grows really fast. It's a cool piece of property. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? You ready there, Rue? Yep. Okay. So here's their old paddock. I got their new paddock set up here. It's just a nice rectangle. So I'm just gonna let them in. That's usually the fun part. Okay. Toss this aside. Hopefully it goes far enough. It's out of the way here. Come on in, guys. All right. So you can see what I mean with the trees as far as offering them some shade in here. They're big enough that they can actually, like, see that big one back there. That's on the inside of their fence, so they'll be able to sit behind that when the sun gets real hot and get some shade right there. And if you watch deer, if you ever go deer hunting, or if you just get out in the mountains or whatever, you go out and see where the deer are sitting. They're usually, whenever you can actually spot them, a lot of times they're sitting kind of in an open area just against a single tree. And that's the shade, that's all the shade they really need. So it is helpful, believe it or not. But definitely it's going to be a little bit cooler along the tree line, so hopefully we'll get over there in the next couple of days, and that'll give them a little bit more shade for the hotter days, because it's going to heat up this week. But look at all this different forage in here. There's so much diversity in this field. It's wild. There are so many trees growing everywhere and different kinds of weeds, and there's actually a lot of good grass in here. It's awesome. This place has just been resting for years. So there we got Ricky. He's our Australian white, or I think more correctly, he's an American white cross, Katahdin. And then the rest of the bigger guys are Dorper Katahdins. All the little guys are Ricky's lambs, so they are Dorper Katahdin from a Dorper Katahdin ewe or a Dorper ewe crossed with a American white Katahdin ram. And then that big ewe right there, the white one with the black head, she's a Dorper. I don't think she's crossed with anything. She's just a solid Dorper. And who knows, she might have a lamb here over the next couple of months, because she's been in with these rams, so we'll have to see. She's really cool though. She's probably our biggest ewe that we have, and she's really hardy. She's got a cool personality. She doesn't really let you pet her or nothing, but every once in a while she'll come up and you can pet her head for a second. But she eats really good. She's always really healthy. She's cool. This little ram lamb right in front of me here, that's Cowboy. He's probably the biggest ram so far out of this year's flock of lambs. And he's from up here, Dorper also. Dorper ewe anyways, mixed with Ricky here. We got Chico back there. He's the big guy. He's a Dorper Katahdin. We've had him now. This is the second season that we've had him. And we didn't really use him much for breeding. We just picked Ricky this time. But Chico's just a really cool ram. He's got a good personality. He's kind of the protector. He keeps everybody in line. The last thing I'm going to do out here is I'm going to find any spots like this that the brush is really pushing the bottom up to give a spot for something to get through, and I'm just going to kind of kick that away and push the bottom of the fence down so there's not a gap there. You always want to do that. So now it's basically touching the ground almost. As good as I can get it, at least. I don't ever want to get lazy and just leave a gap down there. So I only have to do this if it's really tall, brushy stuff and the bottom doesn't want to lay down on the ground. I think the rest of it's actually good, so I don't have to do that over there. Alright guys. Alright, so we're gonna get over here and move these ewes. I gotta set their new paddock up for the day. They've had some morning shade over here, but pretty soon the sun is gonna cross around the other side of these trees, and they'll have shade on the back side of those trees. So I got one fence over here from last time, and I got one fence over here that's connecting their charger to their current paddock. And so where these trees are, this is a little creek right here. It's carved out a little bit in there, so I keep them out of that for the most part. I ran them in there once just to clear up some of the stuff, and just to make sure that they had enough forage, because there was quite a bit growing in there in the wintertime. But I'm definitely not going to make it a habit to run them through that and cause any more erosion. So we just run them a little away from the edge of that creek, and before the end of the day they'll be back over here behind these trees. And then we'll start doing kind of a starburst pattern away from this tree here, and that'll give us several days of shade that they can have for this hot week. This is a little creek here, and then the highway is just on the other side of these trees, as you can tell by the cars driving by there. The little lambs are doing really good. Little Doc and Marty. Okay, so I had to adapt a little bit. So their fence is going all the way around these trees here. And hence adaptive grazing. You got to be adaptable. You can't just stick with the first thing that pops in your head, but so they're going all the way around these trees, so they have all this for shade. And then after today, I'll take, so this is 2 sections in that basically to rope this off, and then I'm gonna take the third one tomorrow and set up a new section that still allows them to shade, but it lets them get up on the hill a little bit. And then the day after, I'll put another one in a new spot up there, but so that they still have access to this. All right, so that's Betty's little ewe lamb. She's real sweet. This one's Diamond's ewe lamb. That's Diamond right there. She's really sweet too. Her lamb's not too friendly yet, but we got Taggy, we got Jojo. That's Jojo's last year's twin. All right, we got Betty, we got Daisy, we got Heart there, we got Joy over there, we got Holly, we got what's her name again? Little D. Losing track. Look at those little lambs over there grazing. That's awesome. Just got to go make sure, and any sections that are sticking up in the air, I got to go and kick the weeds out from under them so they sit down flat, and then I'm done here. Make sure they got their water. And so this is the back fence from their paddock from 2 days ago. So they were here 2 days ago, and now they're going to be in here. This is a pretty cool little spot. It kind of flows under the ground once it comes out of here, and then it opens up a little further out. But just right here, once it gets past these trees, it kind of flows under the ground. So it'll be awesome shade for these guys. Well, they should be pretty stoked this week. They should be very stoked. This is the first time I've actually let them in these trees like this. I've never bordered this before. But like I said, you got to adapt. You know, you realize something while you're getting ready to set up, and you go, man, this would be so much easier if I just did this. And you know, you got to just change your plan and go with it. You try it. You make sure that you don't have too many things that could go wrong, or too big of a thing that could go wrong with your experiment. But as long as it's a decently controlled experiment and you kind of observe the results during and after, that will help you to make a good decision for what to do in the future. We're always learning, guys. We're always learning. All right, fence is tight, charger's green, sheep got water, they got shade, they are happy and ready for the heat.